Welcome to Tanked Up, the podcast all about craft beer and video games. I'm Aadil, and this week I'm joined by Lucy.
Take two, I'm way more excited to be here with my friend Aadil.
Always a pleasure, Lucy. And special guest, Adam.
Hello.
First time on screen.
I know. Instead of I can't remember what you used last time. Was it a bad picture or was it just my profile pic?
It was a picture of your vodka or...
Yeah, you sent a picture of your vodka and I just slapped it on the screen as like a really cheap-ass overlay.
Well, now you have just a cheap-ass real face. That's what we have.
There's nothing cheap about that face.
Nothing at all. And we've got Garfield in the background as well.
Yep, just judging us all silently. In a typical fashion.
So, for those, if you have missed previous episodes with Adam, Adam is not a beer drinker. Did you grab anything to drink this week?
Not alcohol. I just have Dr. Pepper.
Solid. Another Dr. P?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's carbonated, so it's good enough for us.
Yeah. Bubbles are the key.
Sugar on it.
We're secretly
Bubbles
sponsored by SodaStream. See? Lucy, do you have beers this week?
Yeah, I do. I'll kick it off then. Again, don't know what beers I have, so this is off the cuff. This is called Tea Party from People Like Us Brewery. It's a cream ale with green tea. That sounds nice. 6.5%.
Nice. Does sound nice.
Nice. Like cubism.
Oh, I think I've had that before. The green tea one,
you
right?
You probably have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it came in a Beer 52 box that I got recently or something.
I was going to say, I think I had it from a Beer 52 box like months ago. But
possibly. Maybe they're getting rid of old stock.
Yeah.
I did pick up a fairly cheap box. Yeah, it doesn't really have much flavor text. I'll try and read this. Oh, it's got oats, corn, jasmine, jasmine green tea. Okay,
more and more surprised with each ingredient.
Where the corn come from? Yeah, it says that it was this beer is developed by Michela and Stefan Van Maren for People Like Us. So.
Yes. Yeah, so I think it was a couple boxes ago that I had a couple of those Michela People Like Us. It's like a autism campaign. Like some of us have autism, we make beers.
Okay.
I believe. Ooh, let me look that up before I fuck up the charity. People. And then Ben has chimed out to say that he's having a Moretti.
Fancy.
I mean,
that's why he's not on the podcast.
Yeah, he skips out in the podcast, but he's still allowed to drink.
No,
yes,
he's banned.
Yeah,
Shall you explain why he's not on the podcast rather than we?
No, we just didn't like him. That's why. Isn't that why? I thought that
I didn't want to say it, but
I thought it was just like we're all tired of his shit.
I decided I wanted on the podcast this week, so I went round and cut his Ethernet cable.
And he somehow managed to get on, but probably just on his phone, so he can process the stream.
We had a whole script, a deal about how we've enjoyed his time on Tanked Up.
And, right, sorry.
It was time for fresh blood and...
Yeah, and it's just about moving forward, not moving on. You're right, I totally forgot about that. All best wishes in your future endeavors. Ben. I have from Wildcard Brewery. I've got the Weimea IPA. Well, I don't know if it's Weimea or not, but it's Waimea. So I'm choosing to pronounce it as Weimea, which I'm sure they would love. I don't know what else it would be. I mean. It's brewed with
Waimea.
Yeah, I know. It's Weimea, Nelson, Sauvin, and Citra hops. Weimea is better though, right? It's a 5.2% Weimea IPA. Thanks for the primer. I prefer. Oh fuck me. Yeah, that's what I get. A little bit of an over explosion. While
Do you
I
need to go clean
delicately
up?
pour this, what do you think of your green tea?
It doesn't smell of green tea. It smells a bit funkier.
Does
Like
it smell of jasmine?
dankier or
No, funkier, more like old school gym mats funkier.
oh, sweatier?
Yeah, it hasn't got a pleasant aroma.
Hmm.
Or maybe it's just not pleasant to me. I can't really place it. I'd probably attribute that to whatever green tea that it is they put in there, but I don't know. Um,
Jasmine's usually like a essential, like a Japanese sort of light.
yeah, jasmine's. I like the smell of jasmine, so it doesn't smell like that. Yeah, it poured. It's pretty hazy. Uh, yeah, pretty cloudy. Got a nice. There's about a one finger white head to it. It's light, just darker than straw
Hmm.
in color. Yeah, the smell isn't doing anything for me, but let's see what it tastes like. It it definitely tastes better than it smells, which is good. It's very perfumey.
Hmm.
Definitely getting all that jasmine in the taste.
And all that
It's
jasmine.
yeah, I'm not a massive fan of like overly perfumey tastes in beers. It so this is it's not doing much for me in the taste, but it's got a nice balance to it. It's light in texture. It's not heavy bodied. What percentage was it? It was 6.5, wasn't it? Yeah, it doesn't taste like 6.5 at all. It tastes much lighter than that. Um, Cream ale, yes, there is a bit of creaminess to it, and you're getting that from the oats, but it still maintains quite a light body, nevertheless. So yeah, it's got a nice balance there. Just enough to like coat your mouth, but not heavy enough where it's like, oh, this is 6.5%. It's dense. It's got that creaminess, the oatiness. It's leaning more into stout territory. It's not like that at all. Um, it's got a nice like peppery finish to it. It's got a nice zest at the end. A bit of freshness just to light things up even more with the jasmine. So it's okay. It's probably not a beer that I'd reach for again.
Hmm.
As I say, I don't really like overly perfumey tastes.
But that
But
sweatiness isn't there then. It was just on the nose.
yeah, it was just on the nose, which is good. Maybe I wasn't picking up on the jasmine in the. It's kind of weird how I didn't because it's like yes, you immediately get the jasmine on the front end of the taste and get a little yeah, as I say, a little bit of bitterness, a little bit of zestiness at the end on the finish. But
Seems
yeah,
reasonable.
it's pleasant enough, but probably not my kind of beer that I'd reach for again.
Fair. Um. Meanwhile, mine it pours. So it's a little more yellow in my lighting, but it's quite hazy. And that head, you can see just how much of a head was poured in it. Um, it's got this lovely, slightly floral and citrus nose, but not jasmine floral. Just sort of like I'm in the garden, but
Hmm.
not around fresh cut grass, but like just sort of ambient floralness. Um, and
Very
a
nice.
little sweet. Like yeah, it's a really nice, delicate nose.
Hmm.
Um, ooh, ooh,
Ooh, good ooh or bad
oh,
ooh.
good ooh. I think
Okay.
it's quite full in flavor. So I thought it was thicker, but it's actually kind of wet in the mouthfeel. It's just like so much happened that I was like, oh wow, this is a lot of beer. It's like oh, this is all in the taste, not in the texture. So I'm getting that floralness and that slight sweetness, and then it curves out to just this lovely medium bitterness that is mixed really well with the malts, which are barley wheat notes. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and so yeah, again, it's Waimea, Nelson Sauvin, and Citra hops, and you can definitely taste the Citra. I'm not familiar with Waimea, like the notes of
Yeah,
it, but
not
um,
me. Me either.
um,
Hmm.
I'm super curious now. Oh yeah, like I said, it's got this really sort of bright, a little punchy, like floral citrusness, and then it's like, okay, now it's gonna be this like malty, slight bitter thing, and then it sort of evens out on that slight sweetness again, and a little dry on the tongue, just enough to be like, that was really satisfying, but also, maybe I'll grab another sip. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how long this will last. It does sort of invite itself back with that like slight drying out in the mouth, but it's really well masked by all the rest. But it's really refreshing, and I think what might drag me back to it will be the I just kind of how quick all of those moves of the taste are. Like it's not all all those. There's 3 or 4 different moments in the taste curve are pretty front loaded. So it might be the case that I'm just like, I want to try that again. I want to experience that. And then it's going to be like, oh, and now I'm out of beer. Well, we'll see.
Yes.
Cool.
Sounds like a good, well-balanced beer.
Yeah, it's really excellent. And I don't know the last
You want
time...
to swap? Want to trade?
Wait, hold on. Let's do some camera tricks. And then you reach... And then we had a can already prepared for this. Oh, wait, that's how camera tricks work. If not actually magic. Awesome.
That was terrible.
Yeah. When Ben's away, it all just falls apart. Thanks for putting up with the beer talk, Adam. You wanted to talk to us about a couple of things.
Did I?
I mean, you mentioned a couple of things in the preamble.
Well, yeah.
What's gaming been like for you lately?
Well, I've been playing my usual, which is mostly Rocket League. But one game that's last time I was on, I talked about Ghost of Tsushima, which I finished, but we'll need to wait for Ben to come back so we can chat about that because I don't think anyone else has played it. Have you? No?
Only Ben has.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. But the other game that I've been playing quite a bit of this last few weeks has been Fall Guys because it was the PS Plus game for August.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was free. So like millions of other people, I think there's like 9 million or something like that, downloaded it.
Jesus.
On PS Plus alone, which is crazy.
That's
crazy numbers for such a wee game. Which I like most people calling it Bumble Chums, which is it summarizes the game perfectly.
I still haven't remembered to turn my PS4 on to play it.
Did you download it though?
Well, I added it on the
website.
International
it's in your library. Yeah. That's all right. Then at least you've got it to play. Yeah, no, it is good fun, but I think more importantly for what we're going to talk about was something that they've been doing on their their Twitter even, which has been very well run by their community manager at Fall Guys Game, with really supporting the community and stuff like that. But they started an initiative called Battle of the Brands because obviously with it being that kind of cutesy, cartoony art style, they've had loads of fan art drawn. So they decided to turn it into a competition to raise money for the charity Special Effect, which, if you're not familiar with, are about making custom controllers and things like that to help anyone with a disability or that get into gaming. So that they create things that are suited to specific people to make it more accessible. So the last few weeks that's been ticking away with, different companies bidding that, what they are meant to get the reward is that they would get a skin in the, in the game, that a costume that people will be able to use in game, and so the bids have been ticking up, and then the winning bid was for $1 million,
which is kind of mad.
Yeah, which blew the second highest bid out of the water, which was in the 500,000 marks. Yeah, so that was, which is already an insane amount of money for what was going on, because it slowly ticked up, and then there was a few people I seen bid that you go, oh, they're going to regret that. They've went and done that thinking, oh, this will keep going, and then it sat for a few hours, and they've gone, oh, they're regretting that so hard.
That's really funny.
Who is the winning company?
So it was a combination of 4. There's G2 Esports,
Okay.
which are in a few different esports teams in different games. Rocket League being one of them. I think they do like Rainbow Six Siege and a few others as well.
Yeah.
There's Ninja, who I think everyone at least has heard of.
Yeah.
Streamer. Mr. Beast, who I think is similar to Ninja, but I don't know him as well. And AimLab, which is another one that I'm not 100% sure what company that is or what they do. But that was the 4, and combined they put together their $1 million bid.
I mean, that's great. Yeah. How is that going to be distributed all as one costume for the Fall Guy?
Yeah, I think they decided that each of the 4 will get one, so they've cheated the system a wee bit here.
Yeah, I was just saying.
I was hoping they would just be like, you know what, we don't need the costume. Here's the money.
I mean,
yeah.
I was hoping that they're like, look, just because 4 of you got together, it doesn't mean you get 4 different skins. But it is very honorable of them to put 4 costumes in. But like, you haven't got to be like the guy, the company or whatever that put the 500,000 bid for just themselves and be like, so these guys all got it for like $250,000, right? You got it for half.
Yeah.
What happens? Teamwork.
Yeah.
The cynic in me is like, who was that runner-up company? I'm just thinking like, okay, no one's actually going to use their costumes in game, probably. But it's like, how much of this is like self-promotion versus charitable cause? In the end, it all goes to charity, which is great. But I'm just thinking on like the size of the people who actually bid this money. Is this just like cheap advertising?
Except how cheap is it? Yeah, I mean, I was thinking the same thing. Like, what if
someone like an esports promoter won $250K is not a lot of money.
Yeah.
For having your emblem in a game where at least, let's say, 10 million people are playing.
Yeah, I mean, so with like Ninja and Mr. Beast, who Ben has conveniently let us know is a YouTuber. They have their fan bases who might actually wear them, but I was hoping it'd be like some shitty brand like Marks and Spencer. And it's like, no one's going to wear a Marks and Spencer fucking Fall Guys thing. And just be like...
definitely would.
Yeah, I guess Marks and Spencer's a bad... I was trying to think of just like some bullshit brand that like no one even ironically would do. And I wanted something like that
just
to win.
Some random website that sells like, I don't know, magnets or something.
Yeah, like... Yeah, just because it'd be like, except for a few like irony people, it would just be like, you gave £1 million to charity and... Well, that's it. You got none of the advertising because no one's wearing that shirt. I mean, that's what one of the things I liked about this idea was they were being like, because it got so big so quickly, they were like getting inundated with how much to put our brand in your game, how much to put our brand in your game. And they're like, stop it. All of you stop it. This is now a competition and you have to give to charity. Yeah. And only one of you wins, but for at least this like few week period, we don't have to field any of this crap, and at the end of the day, we've sold out to one person.
Yeah.
That's like, it's really shrewd.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It falls into it's just been a brilliant, like, community, like, Twitter channel. Like, the community manager's done a brilliant job of just fostering all of that and really building, you know, that fun and good relationship with the community of people, especially as it's especially impressive to not have lost any of that, even as it blew up into the millions and millions of people playing the game and all that far outweighed their expectations anyway. But it's maintained that, you know, here's cool fan art and here's this and we're doing this thing, or here's a throwback to January when we got 4,000 subs on Twitch and there's a guy putting, you know, like the the floral like necklace thing on and dancing
like it,
on the
yeah.
desk in the office and all that.
Yeah,
It's still got that feel about it, and the Battle of the Brands thing is another example of just how brilliantly they've worked all of that and spreaded a wee bit of the joy around, which is good.
they've played it well. They've done
absolutely.
everything that was in the playbook to make a successful game that's based on like, oh, we'll give this to Twitch streamers, and then we'll run a exclusive beta, and we'll put it on PS Plus. It's like, they lined up all those ducks and they're just in a row, and it's just like, yeah, they've done well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they did a couple like Twitter threads about how they like what the approach was as community manager, and it was really fascinating, like a masterclass in this is what you need to do in the modern age, and most of it was being on it's like being on top of things and being genuine.
Yeah.
Obviously there's details that I'm omitting, and it wasn't just that.
Again,
but I mean in
the
the sense
cynic
of
in me is like, is it pretending you are being genuine?
by genuine, I mean like actually
that is what
interacting.
PR is now.
Yeah, obviously
I mean,
you're marketing.
PR doing that, like KFC or someone like that. They're like, or Burger King or something like that, and they're just like, oh, we're gonna pretend to be genuine and down with the kids and like all this. We're on your side and all that crap. Yeah, and it's like, or are you actually gonna be genuine?
Yeah.
So, sometimes it's a bit which I'm being the cynic here. I will give them the benefit of the doubt that they are being genuine.
I mean, when I say genuine, I actually don't mean like they claimed that they were being genuine. I mean, the steps that they were describing in those Twitter threads were like actual interaction, not like Steve Buscemi with the skateboard meme. Right? I was using genuine as a shorthand for like really thinking about and following through on community interaction and that type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Versus like boomers being like, I don't know, meme at them.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, have you seen our latest meme package to advertise Out of Lives?
The memetics, they're popular with the kids these days.
I mean, it's because
these people are so... Face in the Discord? So have you seen Alfred's face in the Discord?
I mean, how can you get away from his face in the Discord? Cool.
It's my favorite emote that we've had.
Conveniently the one you made, isn't it?
It wasn't me that made it. I just put it in.
Well, that's what I mean, yeah.
I had the power to add it to the Discord channel. I didn't actually make it.
I mean,
nice choice.
I made all of the other ones except for the more recent Purple Heart, I think. Turns out I like... when I was like basically after like movie nights and stuff, when I was on the Discord with like the philosophy group that occasionally gets together on it, by that I mean twice weekly at a minimum, we'd be chatting away and like someone would share some dumb picture and I'd be like, and go to the online picture editor and I'll just make this an emote and throw it in there. And that's why we have these very random emotes on the Discord, because it's just like, why is that there? I don't even remember what topic of conversation brought this about. But
like the sad penguin and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, when someone shares posts a picture of a sad animated penguin, you just know that that's going to be convenient as an emote. That's just prescient.
I don't know any of those.
Listeners, we are not masters at community engagement.
Oh, what are you talking about? Just because the last time someone who wasn't used to the emoting literally said these things scare me when I started using them doesn't mean cool.
Well, the jokes on them, because that was the whole point of Alfred's one.
Fair. Yeah. So you're still going strong with Rocket League as well?
Yeah, I have been.
Didn't you have a big break? You shared a screenshot like in the past couple of weeks, and I can't remember what it was, or was it a month ago? I don't know time. Where?
Probably a year ago.
Yeah, it was a wee while ago, but that was me. I was breaking into the champ ranks for the first time, which is kind of the top end of the leaderboards. And
it sounds impressive.
Yeah, well, it's one of those that Rocket League's such a competitive game. When you're playing for those, it's very easy to get lost in the, because you're playing against people who are roughly your level all of the time. You forget that you're actually getting better at it as you go along. So yeah, I'm a lot better at it than I was a few months ago,
Nice.
or even last week. A lot of the time,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
when you're not really going up the ranks very quickly, you sometimes get lost in that. Oh, I'm getting nowhere, and then suddenly, you'll just shoot up a bit.
Right.
You'll have a good run, and you'll go. So I got up into champ for the first time, and then I managed to get my season rewards, which you had to get 10 wins at that rank.
Nice.
But
What-
the season rewards haven't dropped yet because we're waiting on we're in this weird phase now where the game's going free to play.
Yeah. Because
But
Epic
they,
bought them, didn't they?
yeah, Epic bought Psyonix last year or the year before.
I
Yeah,
did.
it's
wee
been a
ago
while.
now. Yeah,
I forgot
But-
it wasn't free to play already because I think I got it. I think I bought it on PC and
Yeah.
then on Steam, and then I got it on Xbox Live, and then when I had an Xbox, and I got it on PS Plus when I had a PlayStation.
yeah.
So, given that every time I see a library, I see Rocket League, I just assumed it was free.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when it launched on PlayStation, it was kind of the pioneer of this going free on PS Plus as its launch for that first month. That's where I
They
started
did the
playing
Fall
it.
Guys before Fall Guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it turns
Yeah,
out that like marketing loop is exactly your like sweet spot, isn't it? Give it
Yeah,
to
a wee
me on PS Plus and have it seasonal and competitive,
much,
and
yeah.
I'll just play.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one of those. But obviously the most important part about that is having a good competitive game to play with
Uh,
a compelling gameplay loop of some description to it.
Oh, compelling
Which-
gameplay loop. So I
Yeah.
was gonna say, so you're gonna jump into the PUBG world now that it's
No.
PS Plus this month. But you said compelling gameplay loop, and that answered my
Yeah.
question before I could ask about it.
Yeah, because I mean that's where Fall Guys, even though it's a battle royale in the strictest sense of the word, it's completely different to the way all the others are set up because there's no weapons or anything. It's just
I mean,
you running
isn't your
along
whole
there.
body a weapon?
Oh yeah, there's bouncing off of stuff. The entire course is basically a weapon if you bounce people into things
Right.
or off the edge or whatever. But it's not like Fortnite or PUBG or
Yeah.
like COD Warzone or anything like that where you're dropping in and picking up weapons and running about. It's completely different. So even though it is a battle royale, it's still, I find this version of it
approachable.
much more compelling to play than the loop of like Fortnite or that I bounced
Right.
off of. And then, Rocket League is just it's either it has team based modes or you can play like 1-on-1, and it's
Oh, one-on-one must be strange. Maybe not.
1-on-1 is hell. It's hell on earth.
I mean, I
Because-
never got good enough to. I got good enough to like vaguely aim in the direction of the net, but not good enough to pull off some of the stuff that I've seen that looks like flukes. It's just like, wow, that guy's good at fluking. Because I can't see how you figure out how to do these things. I just
Yeah,
like
I never got a hold of the physics in that game.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's remarkable and admirable. But I was just like,
yeah, absolutely. That is Rocket League's strength. That it's entirely physics based, so the mechanics are consistent every game.
right,
So as you get better at it, and as the player base as a whole has had, it's been 5 years. It was 2015 it came out. So
Yeah.
the skill ceiling as a whole has slowly gotten higher and higher as
Right.
people have discovered new things that you can do. That because
Right.
I remember it was one of the first things I did for Out of Lives was review it, and I did a very terrible video review that you could probably still find on YouTube somewhere. And my favorite mode then was the 4v4 mode, which is called Chaos, because it was just everyone flying past the ball, unable to hit it in the beginning because it was completely new. Whereas
that's how I know Rocket League. You've just described Rocket League.
Yeah.
Whereas you see, like, it's a really popular esport now and all that, and you see some of the stuff like the pro players and that can do, and it's
I
just
don't even want to
incredible.
imagine.
It's one of the, even if all you do is just look up RLCS like highlights clips or something like that, just to see some of the goals, and you think, fucking hell, how is that even possible?
I don't like
where,
to purposely go out my way to make myself feel mediocre, but I might do. I've got 26 hours on Rocket League, and
Oh wow!
I'm
No.
always terrible at. So
I'll tell you exactly how many I have in just a second when Steam loads.
6,000.
So
that's pro territory, and I'm nowhere near that.
So you play on Steam, hey? What input? I'm assuming it's a controller.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you have 420 hours. Higher or lower the deal?
I'm gonna say high.
Yep, it's higher than 420.
Jesus. But you can't just say higher, Adil, and just
fuck you. You can't say, hey, higher or lower, Adil, and then I say higher, and then you say, you can't say higher. That's just saying, hey, Adil, you can't be right.
All right, do you want to put a number on your guess? Where are we talking?
690, obviously.
Right, higher or lower, Lucy?
No higher or lower.
Lower than that. Lower than 690.
I mean, I would have said 421 on Price is Right rules and won, is what I'm saying. I only said 690 because you said 420.
That's okay.
What are we, like 540 plus?
No, it's 674 hours. Is what
I was
Adam,
so close.
That's not right.
I was so close.
That's too many. That's too many.
But the thing with Rocket League is that is too many, but it's also
not enough.
Because the pros in that are at tens of thousands at this point.
I mean,
they play it.
But you don't want to be a pro, do you? Do you want to be a pro?
No, but I would like to get the grand champ.
Get that esports money. Yeah.
Nice one.
I mean, I would love to be able to make a living doing that, but it's just not going to happen.
Can I?
So I have a time on my Steam for Rocket League.
Okay.
4 hours.
Lucy?
Lower.
Correct. Lower. According to my Steam, which we know is always accurate, I have 2 minutes.
Oh, that's not even enough time to get to the title screen.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I opened it, installed it, ran it, and then probably was like, oh right, I bought the DeLorean on the PS Plus version. I'll just turn on my PlayStation. Actually, I think I did it on the Xbox. I don't even think I have access to that. The money I spent on that. I was at tens of hours on it. There was a time where the old Out of Lives crew played regularly on the Xbox.
That's where my 26 hours come from.
Yeah, so I imagine I'm around the same.
Probably.
And I scored goals. I think I scored goals.
I might have scored one.
Purpose,
I was like, and by that I mean I'm pretty sure it was more than one goals. That's as much as I can commit to, though.
Yeah.
I think I might have scored one or two or something.
Oh yeah,
I was just really just there. Not contributing, probably more of a hindrance rather than anything else, and probably scored more own goals, to be honest. So.
Nice.
The early days, pretty much everything happens by accident.
Yeah.
It's a case of go for the ball and hope that you get it.
But when you've played 25 hours and you're still scoring own goals, then...
Oh, believe me, the own goals don't stop coming.
Okay.
Oh, really?
That's all right.
Yeah, it still happens occasionally.
So it's crazy physics. Blame the physics, not the player.
No, a good Rocket League player blames his teammates. Even that's what happens. It's always the teammates' fault.
So do you
always
play with a regular? Wait, what? So I interrupted you. You were saying you started with the 4 of version, and that was chaos.
That was 4 because it was literally just chaos. That was my introduction to the game, which is just because it was hilarious fun just watching everyone, including myself, just flounder constantly trying to hit the ball. And more often than not, like the worst occasion I remember when I was playing in those early days was that there was a solid like 2 minutes where no one managed to hit the ball.
At all?
Yeah,
It's like-
because it was just constant, just missing it completely,
Nice.
and like, flipping the wrong way, and because it was early days and none of us knew what the hell we were doing.
Now what is the primary mode? Is it 3x3 aside, 7
Yeah.
aside,
And
12 aside?
in the esports, it's 3v3 is the main one.
Is that what you also play?
Yeah, I play a fair bit of that. I play more twos just
Really?
because it tends to be just me and one other friend that's on, so we play a lot of that together.
I was like, that was my next
Um,
question was, do you have a
yeah.
regular crew? And you answered it
Yeah.
with, when I do, I play with them.
Yeah, but it's one of those. We've been playing more threes the last wee while, just broadening it out because two is just what we were playing for the most part. It's actually in threes that I've ended up getting to my highest rank, which is champ 1,
That's
which
interesting.
is a surprise.
I wonder if it's just because with 3 bodies you can coordinate more plays in a way that 2 don't let you.
It's interesting because each mode has its own kind of interesting quirks to it. Because threes, there's not a lot of time on the ball because there's 3 on each team.
Yeah.
So the way that works most of the time is it's all about rotations. So like one person will be like at the ball, either in possession or trying to challenge the other team to get possession off them. And then you'll have one player supporting, and you'll have like a third person back, and you rotate round depending on how much boost you've got and where the ball ends out and all that. It gets quite complicated in that regard. Whereas twos, there's that bit more time and space because you're missing 2 players off the
Right.
field then. But there's still a lot of you got to be in the right places and rotating round to help your teammates out and things like that. And then the reason I say ones is hell is because there's no one to blame. There's not. It's entirely down to you playing
But also like
correctly.
the game is, I mean, it's touch based, like it's thus based on passing ish. I can see how like taking the ball from the other person near your net and then having to just sort of go, and you both have to race up and then kind of bounce it around. Like it must be a totally different skill set because you're not just passing it or playing it off of someone. It's just like, man, it's me again.
A lot of dribbling and dabbling, which is impossible.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's not like you're like just tapping it and like, and a quick tap. It's not like you can do in FIFA 1v1, right? Where you can have ball control at least proximal ball control.
You have ball control. You can dribble. You can hold the car on like the roof of your car and stuff like that. This is what I mean. If you watch the clips and stuff like that, you see
No,
people
but I
doing stuff
assume
that
those are all
it's
just
crazy.
promo videos that they've pre-rendered, right?
No, because that's what I mean by like the skill level just climbs and climbs with this stuff. So as you go up through the ranks, initially you do struggle to even hit the ball in the direction you want it to go, and then it becomes about hitting it in the direction you want it to go with the amount of power you want, whether you want a soft touch or to boom it down the other end of the field. And then you get into that more advanced level of actually getting the ball like on top of the car so you can flick it.
That's madness.
You jumping up and flipping into the ball to flick it over people and things like that. And then you get into the aerial game, which is flying in the air and hitting the ball and off the walls and off the ceilings, and it goes into crazy levels. But the difference with ones is because there's just you and your opponent. If you miss a shot, you tend to get punished. So any mistake you make gets punished, and that's why it feels kind of hellish. But it's a really important way of figuring out what you're bad at. It's like if you're bad at challenges, like the 50-50s where you both kind of go for the ball and see where it ends out. Like there is a skill to that, even though it feels random at first.
Right.
Because it's about how you position yourself and your momentum, and compared to the other person determines, because it's all physics based, determines what way the ball pops out. And if you're bad at that, it always goes in the other person's favor, and they get easier chances to score. And then if you're bad at your defense, you'll struggle to save shots, and if you're bad at hitting the target, you won't score even though you get good opportunities to and all that. So it's really helpful way of doing that, but it's really
Easy.
tough on the mental side of things because it gets very frustrating very quickly.
So what I'm
It's
hearing is
easy
it's
to
magic.
pick up, but easy to pick up, hard to master. Like
Yeah.
that's why it's done so well. It's got
Yeah, absolutely.
level of approach and that
I mean,
pro
that's
level.
It falls into that category in the same way that a lot of the long running games, your Tetris, your Pac-Man, and all that have that. It's dead easy to grasp the,
Yeah.
the basic of you move Pac-Man around the maze and pick up all the dots, but then there's another level of intricacy to learning the routes the ghosts take and doing it quickly and getting the high scores and
yeah.
all the rest of it. So as you build into it, you get those levels that takes you further and further through it, and that's
Yes.
where games like Rocket League succeed, where some
Yeah. I mean, I hate
fail
to
miserably. They don't have that level to them.
yeah, I hate to bang on about it, but like strategy in Magic the Gathering is the same. It's really easy to like pick up. Well, it's fairly easy to pick up to understand the basics of the game, but then to understand, there's like tiers of learning. Like you learn that, oh right, just I can cast new creatures before or after combat, but if I do it after combat, they don't know. If I do it before combat, they know I can block their attack next time. If I don't, then they might think I don't have anything to play, and so they'll block, or they won't block because they think, they'll get a free attack next time, and then I'll put a bigger thing down, and then I'll stop
Yeah.
their counterattack, but they didn't block, so my attack went through. And like little things like that, you learn as you go. And a lot of it is like, kind of like you keep up with the Joneses, right? Like as you play with people of a similar skill level, you learn different intricacies, but also people can just still pick it up and just I match the number of things I tap to the thing it says in the top corner of the thing, and then now there's a thing down.
Yeah, There's a difference between learning what legal moves are and what you should actually do.
Yeah, and what the
Yeah.
difference between certain things are, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think you reminded me of that in speaking of like the longevity of something like Magic, right? Is because it is quite intricate and strategic, but if you don't have that strategy, you can still kind of just play.
yeah, and that's where having the competitive ranking system in Rocket League's not perfect, but having it is important for that level because you need to have some way of separating out the people who play constantly, people like me who play a lot, and people like yourselves who maybe just want to dip in for an hour and you don't need like 25 goals to nothing because you can't do the basic things. That's not fun. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's the key to a lot of these things, right? Is that
Yeah.
it's just having, like you said, just the actual league part really makes it so that you can progress and feel like it matches with players who are as good or better than you, so then you pick up on their skills and you all get better. But two, it also doesn't stagnate, nor does it just freeze people out, right?
Well, that's it. Because every time you play a competitive game or a ranked game, your what's called your MMR score, which is the number that they use to calculate, will go up or down based on the people in the game's levels and whatever else, however it calculates it. So you'll go up a certain number of points if you win, or down a certain number of points, and that's where, like I said, you can get trapped in that sense that you're not really moving anywhere, even though what's happening is you'll win a few games and then you'll start getting paired with players who are just 20 points above where you are.
Right.
And maybe they've had a couple of losing games, so they came down the way a bit. So then they are actually better than you, but they just had a couple of bad games, and then you cross over, and that's when you get beat by someone who's a decent bit better than you, and then you drop back down a wee bit again, and then back and forward and back and forward, and that's where you get. It's very easy to get trapped in that feeling that you're not getting anywhere, even though you are getting there.
Well,
And that's
also,
where I found there's a website called what's it called? It's Rocket League Tracker something or other. I can't remember the title for it, but it actually pulls like all your stats,
Hmm.
and
Oh,
you can actually see like, so if I'm champ 1 in the threes just now, I can tell that I'm in like the top 15% of players.
Oh wow.
Like in the world, and that's when suddenly go, oh, I'm actually not shit at the game.
Yeah.
It feels like it sometimes. And then I'm looking at most of the other playlists, and it's top 20 or top 25%. And you think, well, that's actually, I'm a lot better at this than I realised I was. And that's, a big improvement compared to where I was even 2-3 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I was gonna say was just that, I mean, one of the things that can get you in that headspace and that's that actual bouncing space on these competitive games is when you start playing a game with a bunch of people and you all learn and get better together. But that means
Yeah.
you're just always fighting each other for the same rank up spots and then dropping back down. And so
Yeah.
you can be like, well, I haven't gotten out of rank 5 in months, but it's actually because everyone just is continuously getting better, and so you feel like you're not making progress, but actually it's because your whole cohort is just like classing up, which is
Yeah.
a weird thing of like these competitive sort of window or class based improvements where you're like, I'm gold, now I'm platinum or whatever championship or
Yeah. Especially when it's based on percentages, a lot of it. Like the top rank is Grand Champ. I think it's like less than 1% of players will reach that rank or are allowed into that. Like that's how many there will be.
Yowza, okay.
So it really puts into context the fact that the majority of players are going to be in your middle range of ranks, your gold and platinum and your lower diamond ranks.
Mm,
That's where the majority of the player base is going to be all of the time, regardless of what happens anyway. So it's those kind of things that it's interesting seeing the spread across them, because it's not an even split,
right.
and it's one of those things. Nor should it be. But then this is where saying that the ranking system itself isn't perfect is the difference between the highest level of Grand Champion players. Their MMR difference from the highest to the lowest Grand Champ is the same MMR difference from like the lowest Grand Champ to like silver something. Like that's how huge the MMR is,
Oh
because
wow.
that's the highest rank you can get to.
Right.
But if you keep winning games, your MMR keeps climbing.
Yeah.
That score. So eventually, those players end out that far ahead.
Right. I
The
gotcha.
the gap between them, if you take the pure number difference, is like this almost that same level, which is one of the things that they're hopefully looking at changing when this big update, whenever it miraculously appears, turns up. Because they said it's going free to play, and then the Rocket Pass, ended yesterday, as we record. That's the 31st, but there's still no update yet on when the next thing will launch, because the next Rocket Pass and competitive season will all launch with we're free to play,
Right.
but they haven't told us when that will be yet. They just said keep your eyes peeled for the next couple of weeks for announcements, and you're like, you've been saying that for 2 months.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, I mean, hopefully it's good announcements. Lucy, how are you doing on your beer?
Finished.
Okay. I need to
What-
rinse my glass, but do you want to grab your second beer and then?
Indeed. The second beer I'm drinking today is a coffee porter called Daybreak. And it is brewed by Brewery Frontaal. Where are they? Where are they based? I don't know. I don't know this address. I'll Google it. the lack of planning on my part is really beginning to show these last few weeks.
That's
What's
fine.
in it? Chocolate malt, biscuit malt. Where are the hops? Hops are Columbus and Cascade. Aadil is a coffee porter.
Nice.
Daybreak coffee porter. Yeah, where's the percent? Yeah, it's 6%. I said that, didn't I? Yeah. It's coffee porter. That's all I'm saying. I'll drink it, see what it's like.
What's the tin look
So-
like?
Looks like this. As
Ah, yes.
yeah.
Nice.
What are those? What are they called again? These things.
Cafetiers? Mocha pots.
There's another word for them, isn't there? Blanking. But yeah, those. You're not wrong, Adil.
Yeah, I mean, what is a mocha pot name?
What word? Can't remember.
An espresso hob coffee. Nope.
No.
I've always known them as mocha pots.
I mean, yes, you're not wrong. It's just I know them as something else, which I maybe don't know because I can't remember. So
Yeah, no
Oh.
worries. While I do some investigating, what do
Where's
Italians
brewery
call a mocha pot?
Frontaal?
La mocha.
Brewery Frontaal. They're in the Netherlands. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely part of the last month's Netherlands Beer 52 group. Did you learn it? Know it as a small percolator?
No.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter. This really doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's fair. Tell me what.
Right.
So,
It doesn't really matter.
so I guess you've poured the thing.
Yes.
Uh,
It smells like coffee. Nice deep aroma, which is nice.
I've got the from Brew York. I've got the Black Eagle Black IPA, 5.8%.
Ah.
Really
Okay.
dig the sort of
Yeah,
First
that one.
Nations inspired type of eagle art. Although maybe that's appropriation. Like that particular part is more First Nations than just an eagle. Black Eagle is our annual release West Coast style black IPA, generously hopped with floral and fruity Cascade, Centennial, Columbus, and Chinook. We've made a few tweaks and we think the 2020 version is the best yet. That's the only time someone said the 2020 version is the best yet. Yeah, so we've
Best of
got
shit, maybe.
Cascade, Centennial, Columbus, and Chinook, and the malts are Pale, Carafa 3, Crystal 150, Dextrin malt, and Acidulated malt, and it was 8 gram per liter dry hopped. So it's a standard tin at 5.8%. While I pour this, please, Lucy, tell me about your beer.
I shall. Nice. It's not quite all black. It's like there's like a little bit of light bleed at the bottom of the glass. It's like a very dark brown.
And it's a coffee porter, not a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coffee porter. Nice, foamy, frothy. About 1.5 finger off whitehead. Slightly brown. Yeah, as I said, definitely getting a lot of that coffee on the aroma. Very nice smell to it. That's nice. Yeah, nice, really smooth. Not too heavy because it is a porter, 6%. But you're still getting that nice, slight viscosity to it. It's not too heavy. Obviously a bit thinner than like a higher ABV stout, but you're still getting that nice mouth coating and nice thickness to it as well. Just that good amount of body where it's like, yes, this is a nice comforting thing. It's like, yeah, something you'd want at this time at night. It's 9 o'clock. It's a bit chilly outside. Have a nice porter, nice stout. It's got nice roasted malts. You can definitely taste those, like slightly biscuity, bready,
Nice.
moreish. Yeah, it's good. I haven't had a porter in a while, but this is good. And yeah, you're definitely getting all that coffee that you had on the aroma. It's definitely there in the taste. A lot of porters that I've had of like thin and watery and don't exactly have that like chocolatey or richness of flavor. But this definitely has that depth from um, all those malts in there, and yeah, a lot of coffee packed into this, which is nice. It's a good beer.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Mine's quite.
I was about to say. I mean, it's got like mocha pots and like coffee all over
Yeah,
the can. If there was anything less than just pure coffee
coffee.
in it,
Yeah.
then yeah,
I mean, I
I'd be
think I
disappointed.
had something that was like that recently. That was like really bragging about being a coffee something or other, and I was like, yeah, it's there, kind of, but
Yeah.
not really. So I'm glad it's not. It is what it's on the tin. This black IPA is black, right? Like I think it's darker than your porter there. You can
Yeah, definitely.
sort of see with the light going through this slight like right against the light. There's you can see a little bit that it's brown, but it's darker than cola, I would say.
Mm.
Nose is sorry. There's a little bug. Hello, bug. Sorry.
Bye, bug.
I didn't know I didn't kill it. I actually just. It's like this big. It's fine. It just was like I was seeing a movement and I was distracted. Now that I know it's a bug, it can crawl away and along. What was I saying? Bug,
Uh,
beer.
it's Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola.
The nose is kind of sweet. With I do think like there was like 3 or 4 different malts in there. How many were there? 4 malts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 malts, and you can definitely smell the maltiness on the nose. But it's kind of slightly roasted. A little bit of that a little bit of that Cascade hop, and then just like I said, a nice big malty note. So, at 5.8%, it's also maybe it's just my palate today because it also seems quite thin viscosity wise. So it sort of tastes like maybe it's closer to 4 just because of that. There's a lot going on. It's very coffee like. As black IPAs are obviously going to be more malty, but this is like. And it's mostly just like the roasted notes of the malts and the darkness, and some of the fruitiness are conjuring up coffee. Like I don't think it directly tastes like coffee, which yours probably does, Lucy. But it's definitely like it's giving me huge coffee vibes.
Are you
The
getting any hoppiness or like pininess from the
no
IPA?
pininess, yeah, a little hoppiness.
Any citrus or anything?
A little bit of citrus and a touch of floral, actually. It's just the
Yeah.
floral is sort of paired with the sweetness after everything goes away. Sort of, you notice it near the end. Yeah, so this is like this delicate floral note that's sort of intertwined with the sweetness. It sort of sits above the burnt maltiness that's on fade that fades away a little quicker as the finish. Yeah, so it's really interesting because it kind of feels like you're like, oh, there's all these hops going on, but also these malts, and they're kind of like bashing into each other, and then the hops fade quicker, and then the malts are like, okay, and then the sort of more stronger hops, so the more bittering and citrus hops fade, and then you're left with a bit of the floral, which is from some of the hops, and the maltiness, and so it feels like it's kind of like they crashed into each other and then took a bit to sort out which parts are going to limp forward together. Those parts limped forward really well, but like a bit of a mishmash before things got sorted. But I'll see if maybe, I'll see if I have other thoughts about this. I think I'm gonna try and consciously sup this just because there's so much going on. See if I can detangle some of this, and also maybe it's just because I had the previous beer still on my palate. Cool, Lucy. Let's come to you on the video games front.
On the video games, what did I play recently? That was relevant. I've been going back into the archives recently. Archives not being games that it's like, oh, I wanna play that eventually, like Dead Space, for example. I need to get back to that actually. Just being, oh, I own this game. Let me play it. That was it. The last Campfire that came out last week. I think either Thursday or Friday.
From Hello Games, right?
Yes, a small team within Hello Games. I don't know how big Hello Games are now. I'd imagine as we talked last week, they've expanded since the success of No Man's Sky.
It was a pretty small team even when they were making that, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I think they've staffed up since. The dev team on this, I finished the game and reached credits. It looked like a very small, like core team, like of maybe like 3 people. Obviously, they had like help from, external resources and stuff like that. But the core team seemed very small. It's a best way to describe it is like a puzzle adventure game. It's not exactly just a straight up puzzle game that goes level by level. It's more open than that. It's more you're in like these hub worlds. I think there's about 3 or 4 that you're going through. You play as this character called Ember. I assume it's an allegory for like passing into the afterlife, whatever that is. Basically, they're traveling through these worlds, which have like it's very kind of reminds me of like Lara Croft Go, that kind of we're going into like these ancient ruins, kind of overgrown previous civilization kind of spaces, and basically they're helping people who are called the Forlorn, who have literally got lost on their way to passing through to the other side, and helping them, reanimating them. They sort of turn into like these like stones, and like as if Medusa looked at them or something like that. But basically, once you approach one of these Forlorn, you then enter into this kind of the closest thing I can like reference is like kind of like a shrine in like Breath of the Wild. Not quite as expansive and physics based and extensive, but it's like these individual puzzles, these like little puzzle levels. So imagine like a puzzle game, you're doing it level by level. This is instead sort of like Spyro, where it's like, oh, I touch this crystal dragon and then I somehow get ported into this like little puzzle room. And the puzzles are like really simple. Like, I was never really stuck on any of them. I thought it would gradually get harder, but instead what they do is like they mix up the mechanics of them instead of, oh, we're going to focus on this one set of mechanics that we're just going to gradually build upon and make harder over the course of the game. Instead, they add completely new elements to it, so it keeps it fresh in that way. So the puzzles remain easy, but at least they're bringing in completely new mechanics to them. So you're not going to get completely bored by the end of the game. The game's probably about, I think it took me 8 hours or something like that. So it's that good length. The puzzles never got too hard, but at the same time they never got boring or anything. The puzzles could differ, like classic puzzle game where you're like reflecting light off different mirrors, or you're like twisting pillars so they all turn the same way, or
right.
You got these like common like puzzle box, like pushing boxes into different places in a grid and stuff like that, and creating a path. So it's all those different kinds of, basic, simple puzzles, but they do enough with them to make sure it doesn't get too tedious by the end of it. But yeah, the story, it's fine, but I really like there's a narration to it. I believe the voice actress is Norwegian. She's got like this really nice poetic and like flowery writing to it, and coupled that with like a Norwegian Scandinavian accent. It's like it gives this very folklorish fairy tale essence to it, which is nice. But yeah,
Sounds
it's I really enjoyed my time with it. It's like I played it all in one day. It's just a relaxing puzzle game. It's low impact, low tension. It's colourful. It looks really good. Really vibrant, bright colours as well. These like soft, muted kind of art style to it. It's if you just want to relax and play a nice little puzzle game, this is it. It's never too melancholic with its like whole themes of like the afterlife and passing through and stuff like that. So it's not too heavy or anything like that. But yeah, I really enjoyed my time with it. Perfect for an Apple Arcade game. Ran really well on iOS as well. Like the last couple of games I've played on Apple Arcade have not been very sound and true and robust in terms of like on the bugs front.
yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
The
with
last
like
one.
that.
What was it again? The one you
Night
played last
School.
week?
Yeah, a game called Next Stop Nowhere.
That's right.
And before that, it was Beyond a Steel Sky, which was also buggy as hell. Like both of those games, I was like resetting the game like often. This one ran without a hitch, runs well, frame rate wise, no bugs that I encountered anyway. So yeah, I think it's on everything. I think it's on Switch, Xbox, PC.
Right.
It's everywhere. So
It's good to know that it runs well on mobile, because
yeah, finally.
yeah, especially these cross-platform ones. Often it's like, yeah, well, we also did a port that way, and so yeah, that's super cool. I'm gonna add it to my my ever-growing list.
Yeah, don't worry, my wish list is huge as well. But yeah, I
a
definitely
death
wrote.
sentence, unfortunately. It will become one of the forlorn,
Yes.
lost forever in the wish list.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
I always wonder, like, should I go through my wish lists ever and crop them? Because I go through phases of like, that sounds interesting, add to my wish list. Maybe it'll go on sale and I'll visit it again. And then in the middle of that is like, oh, I'm really into this game, I just can't afford it right now. And then it's like, oh yeah, this is a game I was like, did research on, thought about, don't immediately remember, will never buy because I don't remember it exists, but really wanted to play it. And then there's like all this trash where it's like, I read a Polygon article that half mentioned these 3 games because I like this one game. I'll just add all 3 to my wish list. What I'm saying is I need help.
Yeah, no. My wish list is probably like 400 games, so it's like I know the struggle. I usually delete them when they actually go on sale.
I'm like, wait, do I want this?
This is like 10
Stop
pence.
emailing me about these Steam, god damn it.
That
It's like
reminds
even
me.
though I still don't want it because I only just put it on and just like just on a whim.
Yeah.
And it's like
That reminds me of so sometimes you just have too many people on Facebook. And so I have this standing, like, how do I deal with all those random people? And so luckily Facebook has this lovely feature where once a year they tell you an account exists. And by that I mean on their birthday it tells you this person who you're friends with has a birthday. And then I judge you and I'm like, well, do I wish you a happy birthday? If I don't, why are you on my list if I don't feel like wishing you happy birthday? Deleted. Happy birthday, me.
Oh, what a present. I mean, that's a slightly more long form solution than what I did.
Did you just go through?
No, it would have been like 2012 or something like that. I just decided that it was a mistake adding everyone from my school, and basically everyone I'd ever seen the face of. I recognise them. Added. Or you get requests. It's like, yeah, I've seen that face. Added. I thought that was a mistake, so I deleted that account and started a new one.
Oh wow!
Same here.
Razed it to the ground. Love it.
It was much easier because that was again back. I don't know if they've updated the tools or anything, but it was you had to go onto each page and click the thing and down the drop menu and into remove friend. You're like, am I going to do that 500 times? No, I'm not. I'm going to go onto the drop menu once and delete my own account.
Yeah,
that makes life a lot easier.
Deleting the account is like so buried though, so it's not like one menu. It's like 12 different menus that you have to go. But I've done that.
It was slightly easier back then. They have made it more difficult, I gather, since.
Yes. I've done that twice in my lifetime.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend doing that to your Steam to get rid of your wish list.
No, that's problematic.
Especially considering you've got, 5,000 games that you own on it or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Higher or lower? Should we play that again?
I don't have that many games. No way.
Yeah, surely.
I have Wait, I don't even know how to look. I don't know how to find out.
Too many.
Every time I check, it's more than I think I've bought. Oh god. Yeah.
I just like it. Like Steam goes no, 64-bit architecture can't count this high.
I have slightly 1,564.
How much?
1,564.
That's a lot.
And that's a couple years of not actually bothering to put my humble stuff on.
Yeah, so it'd be like 3,000 at this point.
No, it's not that bad. But yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem because I've played 4 of them. That's the real problem.
I think what we need to decide now is what is the forlorn list? Is it the wish list or is it the library? where have they gone wrong?
I mean, name it. I've gone wrong. I think is the key.
Shall I add some more Steam games to your wish list, Aadil?
Sure.
Yeah, I definitely recommend If Found.
Sorry, what?
There's a game called If Found.
If Found.
Yeah.
What is its story?
What is it? It's very akin to a visual novel.
Oh, it's an Annapurna.
It is an Annapurna joint. It kind of, in an odd way, reminds me of Florence. Just because A, it's Annapurna, and B, it's a different way to portray a visual novel.
Yeah, it's not just dialogue trees or just reading things.
Yeah, which can get a bit boring in visual novels. I'm still playing Necro Barista. I haven't finished it. We spoke about that a few weeks ago, and I really like the presentation of that. But at its core, you are still I'm just clicking enter. I've got the mouse at my side. I'm flopped down in my seat and just clicking non-stop just to roll text through. I really wish there was a way for text to just go automatic, but there isn't. So it's just
kind of like an audiobook version.
Yeah.
Instead of having to flip the pages myself, I want it just to read it to me.
I don't even want to play a game anymore. I just want
you want a animated short.
Yes.
Well, actually, long, I guess. Because how long does the average visual novel take?
A couple hours. 3 hours.
Yeah. So you just want to watch a movie. That's what you're saying.
But I want to feel like I'm interacting with something though. So I want to press enter, but maybe every 5 minutes, every second.
What you want?
You're describing You're describing watching a movie with QuickTime events, which sounds like the worst thing I've ever heard.
What you want is Netflix to ask you halfway through the film if you're still watching it.
Yeah. You just want Netflix to be like, press Q randomly.
End of Act 2. Do you want to see the conclusion? Yes.
I mean, technically, if you watch a series on Netflix, it's like when you have to hit you're like, I don't want to wait the 5 seconds for the autoplay to the next episode. You're like, I can click things, and it's like, I don't need to watch the intro. Skip intro. I am playing this show. Is that what you mean? I don't think that's what
No,
you mean, Adam.
because there's still in this game, in Necrobrew, so that is. But anyway, back to If Found.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's got a different way of communicating a visual novel, wherein this game you are using an eraser to erase away this person's diary.
Who writes
Entries
their
in
diary in pencil?
I don't think it matters what you know if they.
It's a visual novel, Adil. Just get with the program.
It's more metaphorical, the eraser, but you are. I think on the Steam version, there is literally
Like a
the
scrubbing.
is an eraser. Yeah.
And you
I
like
played it on iOS, where it's like, no, you just
scrub your screen.
wave your hand around and scrub the screen, which is very
Pretty good.
nice way. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's nice and tactile.
yeah, it had very much had that
Now,
tactile.
if you just erase the word dog, just like a dog disappear off the screen.
Yeah, I mean it's contextual. The erasing. As I say, it's got this really interesting presentation where it's like, oh, you wiping away the screen, and then it like transitions into another scene. It's like this kind of. It's drawn in this very sketchbook kind of art style. This very sketchy, pencil, quick drawings and everything like that, and it's like, oh, you erase that away and something else comes, and sometimes these scenes are animated, sometimes it's like, oh, just this, it genuinely looks like 2 pages in a diary and stuff like that. It's got a really nice way of transitioning into scenes in different days. Like the whole game is set over like the course of a month. These events have already happened, and you're literally erasing away what happened. Which
Interesting.
I don't want to get into the story too much, but it's basically a coming of age tale. It's about this young woman, this transgender woman who's basically she's gone over. She's originally from Ireland, and she goes over to. It's from this I think it's County Mayo in Ireland, just a very small, very conservative town she's from. She goes to Dublin, metropolitan city. She studies. She's got like 2 degrees in it, and it's about her going back to her hometown. And this is after she's transitioned. She's going back to her home for like the first time. She realized she didn't fit in there. It's basically about her finding people who understand her, what she's going through and stuff like that. And I was thinking that the story was going in in the way that, a lot of stories like, tend to go, about queerness and stuff like that, where it's like, oh, this is going to be, it doesn't shy away from like, oh, transphobia and like, non-acceptance from like even her family members and stuff like that. So, and I thought it was going to go in like a pretty sad, pretty miserable, dark path.
Yeah.
But it had a really happy ending, and it's like, good. We need more of those. Yeah, we need more of those kinds of stories where it's like, don't bury your gays. Like, we need these happy queer stories. We've got enough sad queer stories in real life, so it's like, yes, we want. I'm glad that it ended up in a happy place, and
that sounds. Yeah, I mean, that is definitely the problem with wanting to portray that society ain't great and it's a struggle, but also, not just be this kind of like suffering porn, for lack of a better term. Like just like
misery porn. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. That is the term. I couldn't remember it. I said suffering.
And after playing like The Last of Us, I'm not going to spoil that for anyone who hasn't played it, but I mean, The Last of Us is very dark and grim, and everything is like very depressing in a overt and obvious manner. But after playing that and seeing that queer story, this is just like, oh,
refreshing.
Yes, it's so refreshing, so much not light-hearted, but it has a bitter ending. It has a really positive message at the end, and I really enjoyed that. But yeah, just the whole presentation around it, just how you feel like you're doing more than just scrubbing on a screen.
Yeah,
Like
see,
there's
I
this,
see. I mean, from that description, I see sort of what you mean about like in the vein of Florence.
yeah,
Like,
it brings more interactivity to it than what you'd think. From either a mobile game or something where you're just with a very simple interface, minimal interaction with it. It brings a lot more to it. And as I say, like the whole erasing thing really has a metaphorical, thing to it, and it brings it all together by the end. As I say, I don't really want to spoil it. I think I've spoken about the
yeah.
story, but it's just like, yeah, it's really another really good Annapurna joint. So I definitely recommend that as well.
The inverse of that, apparently, from Tanked Up Superfan Ben, is A New Life, which was apparently a happy story with a sad ending. And I wasn't familiar with this, so it came out a month after.
He mentioned it on the pod, didn't he?
Yeah, I didn't clock it for some reason. Yeah, it came out in the day after. That's so funny. A New Life came out in May 15th.
Yeah.
Oh, and If Found came out May 19th. So same week, roughly.
I remember us discussing it because Ben was like, "What's the name of that game?" And I was like, "Is it If Found?" And he was like,
Now I remember this conversation. Yeah, and you're like, yeah, it was this. It's the same game. It's not the same game. Yes. Yeah, but I don't listen to Ben. This is the problem, really.
No one does. That's why we kicked him off the pod.
Yeah.
But if Ben is still listening, then I suggest he goes and plays that. I'm pretty sure it's on Android. It has to be, surely. But it's definitely cheaper on there than on Steam, and probably playing it on iOS is probably the optimal way of playing it, just because of the touch interface and stuff like that. So yeah.
So I mean, the problem with some of Annapurna's games don't immediately come out on iOS and Android. I remember. It's a iOS premium title. Yeah, it's like Gorogoa took like months, if not a year. It does not look like it is on the it is only on the iOS App Store, it appears.
Yeah. Well, keep an eye out for it. It's definitely worth it.
Or just buy a Surface tablet and it for £10 on Steam, and then you can scrub with your hand anyways.
Or just use a cursor. Use your mouse.
Just being dumb. £10.29p on the Steam store. I assume it's closer to like £5 on iOS.
Yeah, on sale for like either
and it's
$3.99 on iOS.
Yeah, it looks like it was $5 US. So yeah, probably $3.99. That's usually how they count it.
Recommend it. Yeah, it's very Irish. They really do well to capture rural Irish culture, community. They have little footnotes explaining what all these colloquialisms mean and stuff like that. A lot of use of slang, so you definitely feel like transported over there. I mean, it feels like a world away, probably not a world away to us in the UK. We've got similar customs, and Gaelic tradition is still over here as well and stuff like that. So, but for anyone else in the universe, in the stratosphere, playing it does a really good job of getting across Irish culture and stuff like that. So that's cool.
Excellent.
Yeah. But I haven't really been playing any modern games.
I mean, that's fine. We're not the craft beer and modern games podcast.
I played that Hercules game that came out on CD-ROM about 25 years ago, because I realised that was on Vita.
Excellent. What was the game that I played last week on stream with you in the back?
Oh, Metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis. That's what I was going to talk about.
Shall I talk about it? 'Cause you don't know what game it is.
I mean, sure, if you want. Yeah, I mean, we ran out of time last week, so I figured I would just, before I lose all memories of this game, bring it up this week. So it's a couple-hour-long adventure platformer, first-person game based on based on Kafka's Metamorphosis. Let's try that again. Kafka's Metamorphosis. Which
what?
Metamorphosis. Which is a story about a man who slowly turns into a bug. You rather rapidly turn into a bug. After the first couple iterations of being in a room and figuring out how to leave, you are then suddenly in tiny bug size and navigating the room and then leaving the room for a bizarre bug kingdom, which has some real world bits and is apparently in the walls of the house you are in.
It is, yes. They have a whole. They have a whole thing going on in those walls. It's great.
I really like the art style. It's pretty. It's very clever.
Yeah.
I didn't quite finish it. Played for a couple hours. I suspect it was going a bit slower just because that's how streaming a game works. It'll show up next week or possibly before this episode comes out. Now that I think about the timing of things, but anyway, the first couple hours on our YouTube channel, Out of Life's Network. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really liked the puzzles were reasonable. Like it's one of those the puzzles are there to give you interactivity, not to really make you feel like you're not bashing your head over any of the platforming elements. There was only a couple spots where it's like, wait, what? And one of them was just just not quite seeing where to go, and I'm pretty sure like 6 of one, half dozen the other. If you get stuck in that spot, you might just immediately sort of navigate. And there's a couple spots where it's like, I had to try a couple times, but overall, wasn't really it's no Meat Boy by any means. And when I say platformer, it just there are things to do, which makes it better. As far as these sort of more narrative-based point-and-click-ish thing, right? It really reminded me of my days playing King's Quest, where it's like a lot of bouncing back and forth because someone says do this, do that, and you have to sort of figure out what that is. But then once you figure out where it is, it's no problem. I think the biggest trouble was when we were on a desk and didn't quite know where to go, just because the hints were really a little too broad-scoped. And but part of that was actually that the game didn't telegraph earlier, and we didn't need to. That the map had more the map wasn't just the map was kind of just like here's an overhead view, but there was a couple icons and ear markers that sort of give you hints that we just never noticed because we didn't need, and it was like an hour and a half into the game, and so it just didn't occur to me that maybe I now suddenly the telegraphing had fallen off. And needed it, and didn't know that was a place I could look. But a lot, and so I think Lucy called me off of the stream for time reasons, but also because I was getting a little squirrely. I think just because I was, so playing a game with people and on air and stuff can sometimes drain you faster than the game itself.
Well, it's purposefully disorientating because you're like a little bug. And you saying that some of the things, some of the platforming, because you're a bug and your camera is affixed to the center of gravity on you. You couldn't exactly see gaps in the floor, and you'd fall down and stuff like that. And I think that game definitely does need some more signposting, a bit more, not a big old arrow saying go here, but just a bit more clarity on I need to go here, or even just a hint system. It's like I'm a bit lost. Just point me in the right direction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like in the part where it got really bland was like also so it was pretty like linear in the sort of like here's the room, but you clearly need to do this, and the room is big, so figuring out how to get there was fine. But then it was like here's this new room, and there's a big desk, and you need to find something on the desk. It was like, well, where on the desk? And I think that's so it was like the hints that worked in the more linear gold and like actual linear like levels. It was like you can't just have the same type of hint for
Yeah.
that new type of environment.
That gives me some yellow paint on some of the surfaces.
Well, I mean, you did get yellow paint sort of because if you step in
Mustard.
mustard, it allows you to, as a bug, climb vertical surfaces, and you leave a mustard trail. So you literally leave a trail of yellow paint. Although at some point in the stream, I started calling it Marmalade. I don't know what was wrong with me then.
You have completely lost your mind by then.
Just like the Marmalade, and you're like, the what?
It's bizarre.
Yeah, that is an unusual combination of things to muddle up.
Yeah, mustard and marmalade? Yeah, I just asked my housemates last time I made dinner.
It wasn't pretty, Adam, seeing someone literally break down in front of you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There was that really annoying signposting bit because they said the signposting was like wrong. They're like, oh, yeah, to do this thing, you have to go through this thing that seems impossible to go through and also was tough to get to. And I kept dying. And then it turns out you just before you do that, you disable the puzzle. And then just go through it. And it was like a 10-minute sequence of how the hell do I do this? And then it turns out that I don't do that. It just telegraphed that I needed to get past, but in a way that sounded like I needed to disable the hard part of the sequence. It was a fan, right? It was like if they said to turn off the fan, you have to do this thing, but the power switch is past the fan. So I thought there was a timing thing, but also getting to the up and around using the aforementioned marmalade it was like really tough. And so like I screwed it up a couple times, and then I died, and then I screwed it up once, and then I died, and then it's like I can't figure this out. And I just like wandered around being like, I wonder what else I can do. And it's like, oh, there's a power switch here. It has turned off the fan. So it turns out when you say to turn off the fan, you need to go past the fan, you mean you needed to go left here.
To go back of the fan.
And you know, and maybe I just misread the subtitles or whatever. But yeah, so there's a few points where it was like, but overall, I really like the story, and like, I don't know if I'm going to stream it again, but I'm just going to finish it. It was enticing enough, and I left at a juicy enough spot, and like we alluded to like the whole world. So not only is there like more extensive world in the walls that doesn't like you lose the sense of I'm a bug in a room and like crawling around amongst books and stuff, and then when you go into the walls, you're like okay, and then you go through like a drain pipe, and you're like okay, now I'm just in this like magic city like scape, like the sense of scale, like everything sort of like really interestingly slowly gets more bizarre. So you don't notice like, oh wait, now this doesn't actually make sense in the initial premise. But like the point I stopped was like amidst the world of the insects and their bureaucracy and trying to do some bureaucratic errands, like literal fetch quest for a certificate to allow me on a boat, I think. Like just kind of wonderful, but also, how did I wake up in a hotel room with like a hangover from a party as the start of this game, and now I am in bug bureaucracy?
Yeah, it's really good. I really like the weirdness of that
Yeah,
whole society they've got going on there.
It reminds me of I don't know if you've read Haruki Murakami's Wind Up Bird Chronicles. It's one of my favorite books of the past. Actually, I was going to say 10 years. I think it might be older because I think it might have come out in the mid 2000s, and I just assumed that's 10 years ago.
You read it 10 years ago. That's all.
Yeah. No, I think I read it like 15 years ago. Anyway, it's what I find phenomenal about it is it starts really mundane.
Yeah,
It's just like this mundane guy in his life and his daily blah. And at some point in the book, you'll just stop and go, wait, what? Because the progression of the mundane to the absolutely surreal is so well written that you just sort of don't notice how batshit things have gotten because you've been like lulled in this slow progression. And I think Metamorphosis isn't that smooth. Like you do notice it, but like it does have like it reminds me of that because of the progression of I'm a dude, I'm turning into a bug, now I'm in the wall. Now like yeah, sure, like the oh no, wait, now that I think about it, one of the immediate re-enters of a room was like all the furniture is floating on the ceiling for no reason.
Yes.
So I forgot about that. But like, what I mean, like it shifts from I'm going bug sides to something's weird in the room to now there's people and this whole subplot and that's surreal. But I'm kind of just trying to get it higher up in the room to now I'm in the walls and wait, what is this bug bureaucracy? Like, there's so many. Like, I only played it for like an hour and a half, right? Like, that's a lot of slippage from I woke up in a party. I woke up hungover, and also my friend is in trouble with the cops. Oh, but also bug bureaucracy.
Yeah. And that other bug, you call that other bug a harlot and stuff like that. And yeah.
Yeah, so like so I wanted to make sure we talked about that, and like I said, hop on the YouTubes to see and hear a bit of my frustration. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna finish it. I might probably not gonna stream it again just because I don't think we need to spoil the ending. Unless Lucy, you literally want to see the ending and don't want to buy the game.
I wouldn't want to either.
Yeah, but yeah. So that was the game I wanted to talk about this week. We're doing well schedule wise. Last time I hosted, it was like this train wreck of a ramble for like an extra hour than normal. So I'm happy with this.
Well, I feel like the first hour is more of a ramble, and that's mostly my fault.
Nah, it's fine.
We only get you on so much that you
Yeah, I
you
mean,
have. It's us who's here every week and have nothing to say.
yeah, but also like we actually haven't talked about Rocket League in a long time, so it's good to hear like a more in depth view, and also like just how far that game has come.
Yeah,
It's nuts.
if it's interesting, the update and stuff like that, I'll come back and tell you all about why. When it's going free, you should play it.
Yeah,
Because
actually,
you're rejoined by
yeah.
millions of other people, probably.
Or you could write an article and people could read about it on outoflives.net or a video on youtube.com/search/ I just realized we don't actually have a URL. Yeah. Anyway,
But it's not slash search anyway. Is it?
yeah,
It's usually
I
user
fumbled it.
thing.
I fumbled it super harsh fumble.
Oh my god, your furniture's on the ceiling!
Amazing. So yeah, I didn't really have another game to speak of. I mean, I did play some Fallout Lazarus earlier today on stream as well, which Alfred and I played a couple weeks ago. But I don't think it's not something I want to recommend, and it's just so sort of generic space thriller question mark.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, and there's enough of those out there, right? That's like its own genre, like adventure-y, well, like we spent a lot of money on space graphics.
Mm-hmm.
And so...
Yeah, a lot of those.
Yeah.
Right.
Like someone is making a mint by just really like low margin sales of space crap on like the Unreal store, right? Asset store. But yeah, so that's all I had to say. Lucy, you had said you were going to recommend more games. Did you have a last game you wanted to say? Because you just sort of said if found. I'm fine. I mean, if you don't, that's cool too. But you sort of had mentioned that.
Yeah,
there might be
it's called Four Last Things, which is a weird game. In that the developer Joe Richardson, he basically used art from. All of the art in the game is from Renaissance period.
I see this.
Paintings, which are that coupled with just basically use of public domain classical music as well.
This is batshit. I love it. I'm just at the Steam page,
it's kind of like Monty Python-ish.
Mm,
It's very it, it has this very crude British humor to it as well,
nice.
and it just works so well because A, it's a good way of getting cheap art assets because A, they're free
Yeah.
because everything is public domain at this point, and B, it just couples with this weird and really quite funny and humorous tone to it because like those Renaissance. I don't know the last time you've been in an art gallery or something, probably a long time since before this COVID stuff. But like those paintings are like weird.
Oh yeah, it's a weird era of art. There's so many weird things.
Yeah,
Like yeah,
and like even in the game, it's like just he's animated like certain parts of these pictures, and that works great as well. But it's like when there's like this dancing baby with like his junk out, and it's like this is an actual painting. It's like what is going on in this painting, and like stuff where it's like the because it's a point and click adventure game. It is very fetch questy. It's only about an hour and a half. The plot is you basically have sinned and you go to this church, and they're like, oh, you sinned in another parish. Bureaucracy of the church means that we can only absolve you of your sins if
here.
you've committed within this parish, and so you have to go commit all the seven deadly sins again. But
Wait.
yeah, when you hover over like the characters, it's like, is this a bishop? Is this a priest? Who knows? We can't tell from this art because nothing explained and
Yeah.
nothing. Everything looks weird and yeah, just the way it describes like it's like creepy loot looking guy, creepy this weird. It's really good. It's really funny. It just
I
well with like the
it's
fact that it's like who knows what's going on in these pictures.
yeah. I mean, it's $7.99 on the Steam, and it
Yeah,
came out in.
cheap on a Steam sale, I think.
Yeah, I was just say it came out in 2017.
Mhm.
But you can buy for £16. You can buy the 3 games that this person's done.
Yeah, I really want to try his next game.
So the one that came out this year was the Procession to Cavalry, which is currently on sale on Steam for $6.39, which looks very much like just the same type of thing, but with
Yeah.
pirates.
Oh, okay. I might need to buy this.
Pilfer from pirates, conspire with cardinals, and perform miracles with an incompetent magician. The Procession to Cavalry is a Python-esque adventure game made from Renaissance paintings and a spiritual successor to the critically acclaimed Four Last Things. And it looks very, very funny. Just even the Steam page is making me giggle a little. And you're right, it is entirely Python-y. Also, goddamn, sorry, I have to say this because this game came out April 9th, 2020. The minimum system requirements is OS, Windows, motherfucking XP.
Oh no!
That's amazing!
The renaissance of Windows operating system.
Hey! I didn't realize you could pick that from the Steam drop-down menu anymore. You know what I mean?
Oh, have you seen that people have been in Flight Simulator? They've gone to the hills of the where the Windows XP background is taken.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. I mean, I think it was earlier this year that there was a big like Twitter reveal that when because a lot of people assumed it was drawn or animated or whatever, right? But this was the the Windows XP hills are a picture, a photograph. So I'm not surprised that using people, given that it made a splash. But no, I'll have to look that up because I want to see what flying into the XP hills looks like.
I can read out the coordinates here. I'm not going to because I can't.
Everyone's got Google. It's fine. Awesome. Okay. Lucy, let's go to beers. You had 2.
Oh yeah.
Which one did you like
I did.
more than the other one?
I preferred
that
the
was very
Daybreak coffee.
accusatorial, wasn't it?
Which one did you
I preferred the Daybreak. Wow.
Sorry, continue. You like the Daybreak? That was the
Yeah, the
yeah. This just
coffee
in:
porter. Yeah.
Lucy likes coffee more than tea.
I
Probably
wouldn't
not.
say that's true. No, because I've never drank coffee. Um,
Really?
had tea. Yeah, really. I like it in beer though. And I especially like it in this beer,
Hmm.
coffee porter, from Beer Frontaal. Yeah, it was. It's just. I just don't think I really like the style of the um, first beer, the Tea Party
Yeah.
from. Who's it from again? From people
Garden.
like this brewery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cream ales, not my favorite style.
It's also I recall I had it as well, and I felt like the green tea I think is just like doesn't go well with something like cream ale. So you
No,
just like if there were tasting notes that gave away the green tea, they were just drowned out by the cream ale. Like it just didn't taste like.
for me, I got a lot of the jasmine, which gave it this perfumey
Hmm.
kind of thing. I didn't really like that more so than like the cream ale part of it. Like because green tea, like I think the Gunamata from like Yeasty Boys is a decent beer that's got Earl Grey in it. Same as the Earl Grey IPA from like Marble and stuff like that. Those are beers I like. I think it was just maybe the jasmine in this.
I guess maybe
Jasmine,
that's what it is. Is like yes, sure, jasmine green tea is a thing, but if you're just tasting the floral jasmine notes, then this is just a flowery beer,
yeah,
not a tea beer.
very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was okay. As I say, it's not really my style, so that probably detracted from it even more.
Hmm.
The coffee porter, it's better than a lot of porters that I've had in that it's got that it's got that density to it, it's got that thickness, that fullness to it, while still being on that lighter scale. It is 6%, not as not as viscous as a stout, but it still carries a lot of like deep, rich, malty flavors and coffee to it. So yeah, that's the winner this week.
Excellent. For me, I really liked parts of the Black Eagle Black
Mhm.
IPA, but I think I'm going to give it to the Why Me, the Waimea IPA, because I liked the finish of the Black Eagle from Brew York, but it just like I said, it just felt like too much was like bashing into itself before things became interesting and discernible, and that never really changed throughout the rest of the drink. I could just finish the beer, and I'm like, yeah, it kind of just is jumbled and then settles out, and the Waimea IPA just has a taste curve, and it was didn't feel like it was fighting itself, and it was something more sort of unique and interesting, and they both weren't all hops. They had really interesting malt stories to happen. I think the black IPA was a little more on the malty end, which isn't surprising. And I really liked what the malts were doing, but again, they were sort of doing their thing a little too late, given just how sort of things crashed to begin with. But both, yeah. So it's the Wildcard Brewery's Waimea IPA. Also, look at that weird ass tin. Speaking of random art, awesome. Adam, if people wanted to get a hold of you and talk to you about Rocket League, how would they go about doing that?
Well, they can find me on the Out of Lives Discord. Well, first and foremost, link in the description somewhere probably. And on Twitter, I'm at Snick, which is APTS in caps, and then NACK in lowercase. That's where you can find me.
And you, Lucy?
Juicy Loose 9, basically everywhere.
And I'm at the Omniarch everywhere except Twitch when I stream even less often now that I stream pretty regularly for Out of Lives. But I'm the underscore Omniarch. If you miss Ben, tell him you miss him because he's Nova underscore 47 on all of the things. You can reach us at.
No one will do that.
I mean, I know no one will do that. See, you didn't need to say that, Adam, because this was like setting Ben up for like the crestfallen day after day. No one noticed.
No, I don't like stringing it out. I prefer just to dead. There we go. Dream crushed.
I like the idea that he's like, oh yeah, maybe someone will do that, and then 2 days later he's like, no one did that. Sorry?
I will not tweet him because that'll look weird. I will just message him on the Discord saying I miss you.
I mean, I miss you too, Ben. That's why I poke fun. You can reach us at tankedupcast@gmail.com, tankedupcast on Twitter and Instagram. Though, if you do pay attention to our Instagram, let us know because I think it's been a while since we've posted.
Social media.
Yeah.
It's especially when you see like, oh, everyone's tweeting about, oh, look at this beer festival, and it's like there are still people dying.
Yeah, I mean.
Come to our food festival. It's like maybe not,
Maybe you guys are doing a bad thing, and you shouldn't be bragging about doing a bad thing.
But hey,
2020 sucks, man.
Yeah. You can. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe and all that stuff. For those of us who are on Twitch, click that follow. And if you are interested on interacting with us on the Twitch, we record live every Tuesday at 8. Sorry, another bug. Where are these bugs coming from? Sorry.
Oh no, it's Ben.
Ben the bug. Ben's turned into a bug. He's metamorphosized. That's a
He's there to ask me,
Metamorphosis.
Adil. Would you prefer marmalade or mustard?
Oh no.
The all-important question, email in.
Yeah. Email in if you think that bugs would more easily climb walls with feet covered in marmalade or feet covered in mustard.
Marmalade.
Correct. So I was just trying to fix the game's lore.
Pickier than eggs.
Yeah. Boy, we miss you, Ben. You could easily end things, and I almost got there and realized that I'll just continue rambling.
Bye.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah. We've been tanked up. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Miss you, Ben.
www.outoflives.net